Hey there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of a Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is infinite love. The title for today's topic comes from David Icke's book, Infinite Love is the Only Truth, Everything Else is Illusion. Lengthy title, but also true. Fun. I grew up with an amazing, I always say my mom was like Yoda. She was like Donald Shimoda. She was like any yogini or ancient wise being that you might like to sit. You would want to sit at the foot of a master. Then I pray you have had the blessing of sitting at my mom's feet. She's deeply masterful, very, very wise, and I'm overwhelmingly blessed with the liquid gold I was given in that department. And she would tell me all the time, like, love is the answer, love is the answer, love is the truth, love is the way, love is the truth back of all things. Like, you hold the key always within to unlock any trappings or box that you ever get in, because first of all, you hold the perspective of your consciousness, but underneath perspective in the concept of choice, there is what I believe to be an absolute truth back of all things, and that absolute truth is love. And so my best friend and I both work to practice unconditional love, and unconditional love is a tricky practice because unconditional love includes the self, which means also setting boundaries, also honoring the self, also speaking up for the self. And that can be difficult to do when you're a tremendous empath and you often consider how others will feel, and when you're very willing to suffer or be a martyr so that others may have. And so practicing unconditional love is an interesting thing to work to step into. I recommend it, but it's very tricky, very tricky. We used to work together to help teenagers. We worked for the Center for Spiritual Living, and we would do like their winter and summer camps. And so we would go on these trips with all these teenagers, and it was amazing. And we would study A Course in Miracles, and we study Way of Mastery. And so she and I, we've taught classes to groups, and we both studied these things for decades, and we would discuss them. And we would actually, we both have Scorpio on our charts, and we love to research and find where things match or where spirit echoes truth, because a lie will always die. The truth will always be known, my mom would always say. So I'm always looking for truth by finding that which echoes through the annals of time and remains. And we found some verbatim matching in Way of Mastery and in A Course in Miracles, which are both supposed to be channeled Yeshua ben Joseph or Jesus the Christed one. And so we were like, oh my gosh, it says this here and it says that there, and that's almost a verbatim match. And on this trip that we were taking to go work with the teenagers, we came to this realization that love is the only truth, and love itself is neutral. It's not good. It simply is. Isness is your business, and what you are ising is love. That is the truth. That is the truth back of all things. Now, you are a creator of Maya. You are a creator of illusion. You are a creator of holograms. You are a creator of infinite waves of probability, or the spirit of things, the animus mundi, if you will, spirit back of the world, collapsing into particles or the delusion of separation, collapsing into experience of us and them and dualism, right? But there actually is singularity, the singularity of love behind it. The conclusion she and I came to is that singular love back of all things is neutral. It's just your nature. Your nature is love. However, because your mind is projecting its consciousness into a dualistic field or into dualistic concepts, you have the opportunity to experience light and shadow. And through that contrast, you can understand the light of truth and the shadow of falsehood, or the hiding of the light of truth, if you will, which is what gets thrown into the shadows. And you have the opportunity to experience love, or which is absolute truth, or fear, false evidence appearing real. You can experience the delusion of separation being a reality for you, even though atomically you're at all times unified with everything that ever is, was, or will be. You cannot separate from the living tree. You cannot separate from life. You cannot separate from existence. You can go there in the mind. You can be like, I judge you, you dumb jerk. And you're just calling yourself a jerk, because it's just a sack of atoms judging a sack of atoms that granted, atoms have an electrostatic charge. It causes them to bounce off of one another, but they are predominantly made of emptiness, and they do it in a field of emptiness. And so there's just a sea of emptiness judging itself. It's like a fool's errand if I ever heard of one. That's a clown's game, everybody. Snake eating its own tail, Ouroboros, in the negative field aspect of it. So all this being said, in my youth, I used to really struggle with this teaching my mother would hand me of like, love is the truth. Love is what is behind it. And it's like, how can that be true? We have war. How can that be true? this person betrayed me, that person, cheated on me, this person over here lied to me. Like, how can that be loving? That stranger was rude to me and they don't even know me. They haven't even bothered to get to know me, and yet they looked at me and went, be rude to that one. How can that be true, that love is the truth back of this? Well, you are experiencing a hologram that is reflecting consciousness. And in order for it to do that, it would need to reflect the contrast of the concept of a mind that has opportunity to choose false evidence appearing real or love, choose shadow hidden, not revealing the truth, or light of truth awareness, choose up, down, good, bad, right, wrong, left, right, And so you are given a field in which you have the opportunity to experience the movement of consciousness in a realm of contrast such that you might know what you are. However, you can create infinite Maya and illusions and holograms of separation, of degradation, of judgment, of oppression. You can do that for as long as you want. You can focus on it as much as you want. Tricky thing about this realm is what you put your attention on grows. What you put your attention on grows. This is another sacred wisdom from my beautiful, beloved, sacred mother. She would tell me, honey, what you put your attention on grows. Choose well, And so I work to be really mindful. Is my attention on love? Is it on my truth? Is it on the absolute truth? Or have I allowed my mind to divide against the paradigm and to be in a state of separation? If I'm in a state of judgment, I'm in a state of separation. I'm not being authentic love, which is what I am. I'm choosing and opting into the field to be in a state of separation, which I think is neutral. I don't think there's any entity above me going, you terrible, rotten child, I'm going to put you in a holy prison once you get to the other side for your dumb choice. Like, that would be completely malicious and psychotic. So that's not my philosophy. To each their own. I'm not here to judge other people's philosophies. I only have mine to offer because I'm the person speaking on the video. From my philosophy, we are given a free will zone with dualism, with contrast, such that we have opportunity to reflect upon the content of our consciousness and how much are we allowing falsehood to live in our temple. A lot of two-leggeds don't want to speak well of themselves. Do you know how much rampant opportunity you have in the modern age to think ill of yourself and to speak lowly of yourself and hush, child, fold your hands like a peasant behind yourself. Don't be seen or heard. You know what I mean? There is resplendent opportunity to have low self-esteem. I witness in the field again and again and again, two-legged struggling with knowing their worthiness. Why would you not be worthy of love? Is a duckling worthy of love? Is a little fox worthy of love? What about the raven? Like, is it worthy of love? I love it so freaking much. I love it as much as the hummingbird. You know what I mean? But you're not worthy of love? Why? Because you have a pimple? Because you farted? Why are you not worthy of love? What is going on? Because you were rude one time? Right? And so we go out into this world of dualism where our dualism is bouncing up against seemingly other, because the separation is a delusion. It's a sea of atoms. It's really oneness. But seemingly other entities that are also in the delusion of separation and delusion of judgment. And then we get attached to their behavior, which is in a deluded state. It is in a deluded state. I highly recommend anything that David Icke has ever written. I highly recommend his show on Gaia Television if you have it. It's called Escape the Matrix. He's just a very interesting individual who has been ridiculed by thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and many people that bring the truth will be ridiculed. Many of the masters are murdered or ridiculed, and it's because there's so much opportunity in this realm to be mired in the ego, to be mired in the delusion of separation, to be mired in the concept of bad. I'm bad, you're bad, everybody's bad. Let's judge the world. That's helping. Let's count up all the things that it's doing to be negative and judgmental and to be, what are we doing? What are we doing? How is that helping? If it is a web and if it is connected, and it's all atoms, it's a sea of atoms. It looks like a bunch of seemingly separate things. But if we look at the truth back of everything, it's waves of probability collapsing into particles based on what consciousness is choosing. Are we here if you're made of emptiness, or is this really just a field of consciousness? And if it's a field of consciousness, How often are you allowing love to sit in your temple? Most of my life, I would not speak well of myself because I don't want to be arrogant, bombastic, or boastful. Ugh, how rude of me to choose such a thing. Like, ugh, better not speak well of myself. Let's all be humble. It's like, okay. But yet it's so appropriate in this realm to be self-loathing or to speak ill of others or to so for me, because love is the truth, love is the truth of Heather Feather, love is the truth of you, love is the truth of everything I witness, everything else is illusion. Everything else is a story we're telling. My question to myself all the time is, what stories of separation are you telling, Heather? How often are you telling a story of separation? You know, a common story of separation for me is, as much as I believe in love, I just did a video called True Love. I am an absolute romantic. I will be till the day I die. And I do believe in true love, and I have been blessed enough to witness it in the paradigm. Really, really sweet loves. Really sweet loves. Oh my gosh. The sea otters, what are we talking about? That's so cute. Let's hold hands and swim around in the water. You can see it in the animal kingdom. You can see it in plants that bring their roots together, and you can see it in two-leggeds as well. And I've been blessed to see all these different iterations of how love can express. And still, one of the ways Heather Feather struggles with truly opening herself is to recognize that I'm in the most blessed and sacred space of my life. I'm the most authentic expression I could ever hope to hold. I am in a very, very blessed time, because that's where I choose to point my attention. Well, instead of getting upset, which Heather does get upset. No, don't ever get it twisted, humans. I'm having a human experience. I get upset. Heather gets upset. I work to more and more be like, well, that's goofy. You know, like if I were to make a dinner and I were to drop the entire dinner on the floor and the plate would shatter and I'd have to recook a whole dinner, my intent is to be like, well, that's goofy. When I was in my 20s, I would be so mad. So mad. And I can spend a lifetime getting cheesed off at every little thing that occurs that I don't want to have occur. And it's like, well, that's a fool's errand, because things are going to happen that I don't want to have happen. I've had lots of car accidents. I don't know that I would, particularly with my physical conscious awareness, go, you know what I would love is a bunch of car accidents. That would be great. And car accidents have opened up a lot in my awareness around being more attentive on the road, be like having my awareness be larger than just what's right in front of me. Do I have my peripheral vision open as I drive? Am I being attentive to the cars that I've passed and their speed and velocity? And so it's caused a much greater level of awareness by having that teacher. And if I'm eternal, it doesn't matter if I were to die in a car accident tomorrow. I can come back and have more if I want. I can keep on learning to focus up on the road. Bless it, maybe I'll do that. But the point that I'm making today is, it's easy to consider, like, how is it possible that love could be back of my world? I've seen things that I find I don't love this. I don't love that behavior. I don't love that situation. I'm having a difficult time loving that person over there. Or perhaps the biggest one, I'm having a difficult time loving this person right here. This one that I'm breathing with. Well, one thing I would recommend is to start speaking more authentically and more honestly about your truth. Heather is no longer in a space to where I need to constantly play the role of humble and never speak will of my graces and my gifts. If I'm going to be authentic, then I'm going to know the truth of my being. And so the truth of my being is that I love truth. The truth of my being is that I'm a generous soul. Am I always a generous soul? No, I can be selfish. You know what I mean? I'm having a human experience. Sometimes I literally am like, I don't want to share. I gave it the office. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm not in the mood. And that's okay too, because we can play any role we want to play. I tell Spirit all the time, I didn't come to be a saint. I'm having a human experience. And how much of your attention, how much of your consciousness do you choose to have mired in trial, tribulation, separation, judgment, degradation, not good enough, don't approve, don't want, don't like, get away from me, unwanted, unwanted, unwanted? I love to think of the earth and humanity being in a state of grace, falling in love with their sacred face in this place, loving the earth and giving it all this energy for it to proliferate. In what ways are you connecting to the infinite love that is back of the design, riddled with false evidence appearing real? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube. Like and comment there. I always love to hear your thoughts. I'm one.